It was just more rejection. I didn't believe for a minute that he didn't remember any of it. He just didn't want me. That's all I could hear. Whether he actually didn't remember it or not wasn't important. He didn't want me. So there was just endless supply of rejection going on. Um, yeah. So when I went, actually, when I graduated from high school, I started working full time. I didn't go to college right away. And in that year that I was working full time, I started dating someone that I worked with um, who was twice my age. And this is where classic daddy issues come in, right? Always dating an older man, always trying to get an older man's attention, whatever. Um, Honestly, I didn't think about it that way. All I knew was that he seemed attainable to me. I was attracted to him, and I wanted him to want me. And he did. I had to fight to get. Okay, I'm fixing my hair and that is sorry. Sorry. Bad habit. Okay. I had to fight to get his attention because I was 18 and because he was like, woman, you're 18. That you're too young for me. And so I pestered and pestered and pestered him until he agreed to take me out to dinner. And he did. He took me out to dinner and fought to keep from touching me or kissing me. And I won that battle big time. Um, I was obsessive about my relationship with him. I desperately wanted him to love me. And it's the only dating relationship I had where I really desperately wanted to hear I love you and never did. Um, in almost every relationship that I had been in, I had said I love you without much thought and without fearing that I wouldn't hear it back, but I could not bring myself to say it to him. I really feel like it's probably because he was so much older and because I so desperately wanted to be accepted and could sense that something wasn't firing right, that the relationship was a bad idea. What I found out later, much later, after we'd broken up, was that he was seeing someone else at the same time, and probably someone his own age, like a normal person, and I was devastated. We broke up because he was going to Florida to see his sister for Christmas, and he hadn't even discussed Christmas plans with me. That's why we broke up. Um, he didn't break up with me. I broke up with him because I felt like the end was coming, and I could not even begin to imagine dealing with him breaking up with me. So once again, I abandoned him before he could abandon me. What I didn't bank on was the fact that it was going to utterly destroy me emotionally. I was in bed for weeks trying to get myself together and sobbing hysterically and just a colossal head case. I have not had a reaction like that to a relationship ending since. I don't know that I ever will again, only because I was young and naive and didn't fully appreciate the emotional problems that I already had. Um, so anyway, we went, we, I went to college after that for a semester and got heavily involved in everything going on. Fell in love with every boy I met. Um, didn't date any of them, except for one, who on our second date showed up at the party we were supposed to meet at with someone else. So, yeah, things were kind of over at that point. Um, but while I was in college, I um, spoke with my husband every day, and he would call in the morning at 8 o'clock to wake me up, and we would talk for a little bit, and then I would talk to him most evenings as well. And he was going through a breakup with his latest girlfriend, and he said to me one night on the phone, "I don't love her. I don't know why I'm with her. I need to break up with her." And I remember thinking, you had me anytime you wanted me, and you didn't want me. Don't you freaking tell me now that you want me. And he didn't. And I was so relieved. Now, my grandmother was very ill. She was dying of cancer. And when I had gone home at Thanksgiving, we figured out that she was worse. And what I realized was that the family knew she was worse and didn't tell me. The significance of that is that my grandmother practically raised me, because my mother and I were always more like siblings. Our relationship was kind of dysfunctional that way. So the imminent loss of my grandmother was huge, and I couldn't be away from her if I was going to lose her soon. So I quit school and moved back home. And when I came home, he had asked me to call him as soon as I got home. Like it was the week before Christmas. And I didn't call. I don't know. I didn't want to yet. It's not that I didn't want to see him. I did. He was my best friend, and I loved him. But something was making me hesitate. And the next day, I called, and he said, "Why didn't you call me last night? I was looking for you. I waited for you to call." What I found out years later was that he had actually driven around the parking lot in the apartment complex we were living in, trying to see if he could find me, which is sweet. It was really sweet. And I remember when he told me that, my heart just melting away. For someone that desperately wants to be wanted and needed, that's a huge thing. But it came at the wrong time. So the next day, after I called him, he said, "Hey, I need to do some Christmas shopping. Let's go Christmas shopping." Fine, no problem. So we went Christmas shopping, and he says to me, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I just looked at him like, "What are you talking about? We didn't do Christmas presents." And I just had this sick feeling like he's trying to take this to another level and I'm not there anymore. So I picked out the cheapest pair of gloves. Oops, sorry, webcams everywhere. I picked out the cheapest pair of gloves I could find, and he said, "Do you want a scarf?" And I was like, No, just the gloves." I think they were like $5 or something. Anyway, I'm getting away from the point. So we left there, and he says to me, I want to talk to you." And I'm like, "Whatever. There's a McDonald's right over there. Let's go." "No, I don't want to go to McDonald's." "Okay." So we went and talked, and he says to me, after some other stuff happened that isn't anybody's business. Anyway, he says to me, "I think we should start dating." And I'm like, I don't know if I want this anymore. That's what I'm thinking. What I said was, "Okay." How does that work? How does your brain go, "No," and your face go, "Sure"? What is that? What it is is what I've always done, and that is make the other person happy. I didn't want to hurt him. He was my friend, and I loved him, and I didn't want to hurt him. So, naturally, we're going to, absolutely, let's start dating. That's a great idea. All those years that I loved you and you didn't love me, forget that. Forget all that hurt. You didn't bother me at all. Let's start dating now. Makes complete sense. So, I'm rambling on about nothing. So, anyway, we dated. He professed his undying love very quickly, and I had nothing but doubts. But what did I say? Of course, I love you too. So, sorry, my legs are cramping up a bit. So, it wasn't long after that that he popped the question, and I was full blown into the whole romantic notion of getting married and being wanted and needed. I mean, I had what I needed, right? I just wanted somebody to want me, and he wanted me. So we got married. Now, I went to church off and on when I was a kid, alone. What I'm starting to realize now was the reason that I did that was because there's a very familial feel in a church congregation. Everybody loves one another. They're always worried about you. They're always asking about how your week was, what's going on in your life, those kinds of things. Those are the things that I was missing. I needed somewhere to belong, and I didn't feel like I belonged at home. So it was not a stretch for me to sort of take on his religious beliefs. I knew how to behave. I knew what they expected, and hang on, I gotta go there. Okay, I knew what they expected. I knew what they believed. So I knew that church was something that he wanted. There. And I kind of rolled with it. Okay. At one point he said to me, I think I'm being called to be a pastor. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I can be a pastor's wife. Did I tell him that? Nope. Whatever you need. I'm a good wife. I can do whatever I have to do. If that's what you want, absolutely, let's go to seminary. Let's do it. So we did. I went down there and felt like a fish out of water. All these other wives were so spiritual. They were so sweet. Just honey melting off of their mouth. I mean, just, I don't even know where I was going with that. And one of the things that we had to do when we were down there, we didn't have to, but they encouraged the wives to go to classes on how to be hospitable, how to dress, how to be modest, even down to makeup shades to wear. It was stifling.